Athens is both the largest and the capital city of Greece, located in the Attica periphery. Athens is one of the oldest continually inhabited cities in the world with a recorded history of at least 3,000 years. Today, the Greek capital is Europe's 8th largest conurbation, a bustling and cosmopolitan metropolis with an urban population of 3.3 million and a metropolitan population of about 3.8 million people. The Athens metropolitan area is the center of economic, financial, industrial, political, and cultural life in Greece. The city is also rapidly becoming a leading business center in the European Union. Ancient Athens, in contrast with the modern city with the same name, was a powerful city-state. The ancient city itself was a center for the arts, learning, and philosophy, home of Plato's Academy and Aristotle's Lyceum. Athens was also the birthplace of Socrates, Pericles, Sophocles, and many other prominent philosophers, politicians, and writers of the ancient world. It's widely referred to as the cradle of Western civilization and the birthplace of democracy, largely due to the impact of its cultural and political achievements during the 5th and 4th centuries B.C.E. on the rest of the then known European continent. Large parts of the city center have been redeveloped under a master plan called Unification of Archaeological Sites of Athens, which has also garnered funding from the EU. Notably, the famous Dionysito-Areopagito Street has been pedestrianized, forming a scenic route. The route starts from the Temple of Olympian Zeus at Vasilissis Olgas Avenue, continues under the southern slopes of Acropolis near Plaka, and finishes just outside the Temple of Hephaestus in Thesium. Athens is located at a transition point between the Mediterranean and the Alpine climate zones. The city enjoys a typical Mediterranean climate with the greatest amounts of precipitation mainly occurring from mid-October to mid-April. Any precipitation is sparse during summer and falls generally in the form of showers or thunderstorms. Because it's located in a strong rain shadow, however, the Athenian climate is very dry compared with most of Mediterranean Europe. Snowfalls occur on an almost yearly basis, though these do not normally lead to significant, if any, disruptions at all. Summer can be particularly hot and at times prone to smog and pollution-related conditions. Heat waves are not too common and mostly happen during the months of July and August, when hot air masses come to Greece from the south or southwest. Athens sprawls across the central plain of Attica, often referred to as the Attica Basin, which is bound by Mount Agelio in the west, Mount Parnitha in the north, Mount Pentelia in the northeast, Mount Hymettus in the east, and the surrounding Gulf in the southwest. Athens has expanded to cover the entire plain, making future growth difficult. The geomorphology of Athens causes the temperature inversion phenomenon, partly responsible for the air pollution problems the city has faced. Inversions in places like Athens can lead to pollution being trapped close to the ground. A series of strict measures taken by the authorities of the city throughout the 1990s resulted in a dramatic improvement of air quality. Nowadays, the appearance of smog has become a rather rare phenomenon.
Greece has been known as the cradle of civilization since ancient times. This is evidenced by the hundreds of monuments and points of historical interest that dot the city, making it an open-air museum. As one can imagine, the history of Athens is extremely rich and goes way back, even further than many of us might believe. According to Greek mythology, the first city of Athens was Phoenician and Cecrops was the king who founded it. The city of Athens was officially created the day the gods decided to have a contest. The growing city would be named after a deity who would offer mortals the most useful gift. The deity would, therefore, become the patron god of the newly named city. The contest took place between the god of the sea, Poseidon, and the goddess of wisdom, Athena. Poseidon offered water, while Athena offered the olive tree for peace and prosperity. The town was finally named after Athena. In 400 BC, Athens became a Mycenaean city, prospered and evolved into a religious center dedicated to the Olympian goddess Athena. A dark age followed in which Greece remained from the 12th to the 8th century BC. It is believed that this was a time when King Theseus, the most prominent hero of ancient times after Hercules, ruled the town. Ancient Athens flourished economically during these centuries, but it lost control of the entire Attica, now divided into minor kingdoms. Athens regained power over Attica in the 7th century and gradually became the cultural and artistic center of the country. In the 8th century BC, Solon, an Athenian poet and lawmaker, opened the path to democracy and abolished injustice to the less fortunate by declaring all Athenians, except for slaves, equal by law and abolishing any inherited title and privilege. After the Greco-Persian Wars 479 to 499 BC, ancient Athens managed to become the leading city-states in Greece. This period is the peak in the history of Athens. The economic wealth of ancient Athens brought cultural prosperity. New philosophical ideas emerged from brilliant philosophers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, and science and art flourished. Political gatherings were held in the ancient agora and many public buildings were constructed. Theater was established too. It was originally part of religious ceremonies and then obtained an educational character. The Golden Age of Athens was stopped after a defeat against Sparta during the Peloponnesian War. Athens then fell under the rule of Philip of Macedon and his son Alexander the Great, but remained the cultural center of Greece. Between 1200 and 1459, Athens was invaded by many western tribes: Franks, Catalans, Florentines, Venetians, and finally by the Ottomans, who ruled over 400 years. During the years of Ottoman rule, the Acropolis was turned into the headquarters of the Turkish rulers. After Greek independence took place in 1821, the city of Athens crossed a period of reorganization under the rule of the foreigner King Otto, the first monarch of the new nation. He ordered his architects to build impressive neoclassical buildings in the town center, including his royal palace, which now houses the Greek parliament. Today, the parliament and the presidential mansion are guarded by a special military unit. In fact, every Sunday morning, people are gathered to watch the official changing of the guard. A walk around Athens will bring you to many ancient sites and famous places that are impressive reminders of its long history.
In Athens, visitors have the chance to see selected museums which represent the wealth of Greek culture in all aspects, from the prehistoric and ancient years to the modern era. The historical town boasts some of the most important museums, like the newly established Acropolis Museum, which opened its door in 2009 in a great architectural marvel just opposite the Holy Rock of the Acropolis. The most famous exhibit in the museum are the friezes from the Parthenon Temple and the Socrates statues. Of major interest in Athens is also the National Archaeological Museum, the largest museum in Greece with an extraordinary collection that includes a sculpture, pots, and excellent works of art. It is also worth mentioning the Blanki Museum, hosted in the new classical building in the center of Athens, just opposite the Byzantine Museum and the War Museum.
Athens has been a popular destination for travelers since antiquity. Over the past decade, the infrastructure and social amenities of Athens have been radically improved, in part due to the city's successful bid to stage the 2004 Olympic Games. The Greek government, aided by the EU, has funded major infrastructure projects such as the new state-of-the-art Eleftherios Venizelos International Airport, the massive expansion of the Athens metro system, and the new Attica motorway. These infrastructure projects have helped to make the quality of life better for the people of Athens and to ease overall traffic and pollution problems for the city. The coastal waters of Athens are now a heaven for swimmers. Athens has some of the cleanest and most pristine beaches in Europe. In fact, many of Athens' elegant southern suburbs host a number of beautiful, sandy beaches, most of which are operated by the Greek National Tourism Organization. An entry fee is charged, but in most cases, this fee is not expensive and includes a number of related, convenient services like parking facilities, cocktail drinks, and umbrellas. The city is surrounded by 4 easily accessible mountains: Parnitha and Penteli to the north, Hymettus to the southeast, and Igalo to the west. Mount Parnitha, in particular, is the tallest of the city, and it has been declared a protected national park. It has well-marked paths, gorges, springs, torrents, and caves, and you may even meet deer while exploring its dense forests. Hiking and mountain biking in all 4 mountains have been and still remain popular outdoor activities for many Athenians. Casinos operate on both Mount Parnitha, some 19 miles from downtown Athens and the nearby town of Loutraki. The nearby islands of Salamina, Aegina, Pros, Hydra, and Spetses are also sites of spectacular national beauty and historical architecture. Athens is a melting pot of many different architectural styles, ranging from Greco-Roman to neoclassical and modern styles. Many of the prominent buildings of the city are either Greco-Roman or neoclassical style. Most of the neoclassical buildings were built during the time of the rule of King Otto of Greece. These buildings were designed and constructed under the guidance of Theophil Freiherr von Hansen, or as he is more commonly known, Theophil Hansen.
The Athens mass transit system consists of a large bus fleet, a trolley bus fleet that mainly serves the downtown area, the Athens metro, a tram line connecting the southern suburbs to the city center, and the Athens suburb railway services. The Athens metro, or as it's more commonly known in Greece, the Attica metro, is one of the most impressive underground mass transit systems in the world. While its main purpose is transport, it also houses Greek artifacts found during construction of the subway. Its 2 lines, red and blue, were constructed mainly during the 1990s and the initial sections opened in January 2000. The lines run entirely underground and cover a distance of 30 miles. Attica Metro operates a fleet of 42 trains and 252 wagons in a daily occupancy of 550,000 passengers. The bus service operated under Ethel Thermal Bus Company is the main operator of buses in Athens. It consists of a network of 300 bus lines which span the entire Attica basin. Of a fleet of 1,839 buses, 295 of them ran on natural gas, the largest fleet of natural gas-run buses in Europe. The tram system has a fleet of 42 trams which serve 47 stations. It employs 345 operators and has an average daily occupancy of 80,000 people. Athens is known for its crazy nightlife. Greeks enjoy the night and go to bed only when the sun goes up in the morning. The city is full of bars, cafes, and clubs for every mood, style, and occasion. The visitors will surely enjoy exciting nights of fun and music. The Greek way to go out begins with a coffee in one of the many cozy cafes in the town while choosing among the incredible quantity of bars that play all kinds of music: live music, disco, jazz, international and Greek pop, traditional Greek music, heavy metal, house music, or hip-hop. The night will continue in one of the many big or small clubs which are full of people partying until early in the morning.
Athens is home to some of Europe's most prestigious sports clubs and a number of high-tech sports venues, including Athens Olympic Stadium and Cityscape Stadium. The following is a list of notable sports clubs which have been founded in Athens: AEK, Olympiacos, Panathinaikos. Athens has twice been the host of the Summer Olympic Games in 1896 and 2004. Although the heavy cost of preparation, estimated at $1.5 billion, was criticized, as is usually the case with most Olympic cities, Athens was literally transformed into a more functional city that enjoys a state-of-the-art technology both in transformation and in modern urban development. Some of the finest sporting venues in the world were created in the city, almost all of which were fully ready on schedule. The games welcomed over 10,000 athletes from 202 countries. The 2004 games were judged a huge success. Eventually, a total of more than 3.5 million tickets were sold, which is the second highest number of Olympic tickets ever sold.